My rich aunt left me $3 million. My parents, who abandoned me 10 years ago, showed up at the will reading saying, "We're your guardians." But when my lawyer came in, they turned pale. I was sitting on the living room floor of my aunt's old Victorian in Savannah, still in the clothes from the funeral 2 days earlier, trying to make the world make sense. I kept replaying how I'd ended up here, alone at 9, then raised by Eleanor for 10 years, and now suddenly the owner of a house and $3 million. My name is Ava. I'm 19 now. When I was 9, my parents, Mark and Linda, drove me to Eleanor's and left like it was no big deal. I cried for days, but Eleanor never made me feel like a burden. She taught me to balance a checkbook, to study, and how to patch a leaky sink. She called me her project, but she also called me her daughter. 2 months ago, she got sick. The hospital room smelled like metal and old coffee. I sat with her at 3:15 p.m. and listened while she told me to finish college and be careful with money. She squeezed my hand and said, "I've got one last thing to fix for you." She made me promise to call Mr. Hale if anything happened. I kept that card in my wallet. The funeral was small and quiet. About 50 people came, co-workers, neighbors, and Carol, Eleanor's friend. My parents didn't come. They texted, "Sorry, big thing for Connor." Tough timing. I expected nothing from them, but I still felt the sting. On the third day after the funeral, I heard the knock. I looked through the peephole and froze. Mark and Linda were on the porch with my 2 older brothers, leaning like they owned the place. "Ava!" Mom cooed, stepping in before I could close the door. "We're here to help. You shouldn't be alone." They walked through the house like buyers at an open house, touching the piano, laughing at photos, sitting on Eleanor's good couch like they belonged. "You've been living with Auntie," Dad said, "but now she's gone. We're your real family. We're your guardians." Jake, my oldest brother, said, "This place looks worth a fortune." I felt something twist in my chest. "You missed the funeral," I said. "You said you had Connor's celebration." Mom shrugged like it didn't matter. "We came now. We want what's best for you." Their eyes were bright with hope, and I knew greed when I saw it. I called Mr. Hale and then hid in my room. He arrived 20 minutes later in a gray suit and calm face. He walked into the kitchen like he'd been briefed on theatrics. "Good afternoon," he said. "I'm David Hale, Eleanor's attorney. How can I help?" My parents stood up, smiling, and explained their plan. "She's family. We can manage this." Mr. Hale set his briefcase down, opened it, and pulled out the will. He read Eleanor's words slowly. "I leave everything to Ava Harper." He looked up. "Total estate value, $3 million. The room went very quiet. My parents' smiles faltered. "That can be contested," Dad blurted. "She was our sister." Mr. Hale smiled thinly and slid another document across the counter. "When you surrendered parental rights in 2015, you signed this in front of a lawyer." Their faces drained. "Also," he added, "Ava has been a legal adult in Georgia since her 19th birthday 3 months ago." They stammered. I watched them turn from cocky to pale. They tried pleading. My phone filled with their sobbing texts the week after. Mr. Hale told them to leave or he'd call the police. They left, but not before Mom whispered, "You'll regret this." For a month, they called and sent messages, promises, and excuses. I saved everything in a folder like Mr. Hale told me to. We filed a cease and desist. It worked. The calls stopped. I moved into Eleanor's house properly, finished my first semester, and followed the rules she taught me. I kept one thing in my drawer, the small sealed envelope Mr. Hale had put aside during the will reading. He said he'd give it to me only if I wanted to know everything. Tonight, after dinner, he came back, closed the door, and handed me one last paper. He said it quietly. "She wanted you to have this when you were ready." I opened it with shaking hands. It was a birth certificate. Under mother, the name read Eleanor Harper. Margaret wasn't my aunt. She was my mother.